Hello, I'm Boz, and I'm co-owner of Boz Saddlery with my wife Annie. And for years, I think we have now a total of 450, 500 different items that we custom build in our shop. And so many different customers have always wanted to know how to adjust this and how to clean that, basically how to ride it. So what we're going to try to do today the best we can is to come up with some steps on how to fit the pads, how to adjust the saddle, where it should sit. Then I'll go get a horse. We're going to show how it goes on the horse and do some riding, show you some different things. And it's kind of like we call the system of Boz U-Edit. This is really a small company. It's a family-owned company. We've been doing it probably for about, well, I've been doing it since 1975, so over 30-something years that I've been working on this stuff. I worked with a gentleman named Monty Foreman, without a question, has done more for the horse world than anybody I've ever met. And he taught 95,000 students. Out of that, 22 of us became instructors, and I believe there's only 2 or 3 of us left in the world today. So you'll see with our technique, and I now have changed it and added things and my own thoughts, and came up with a new system called Bozzage, B-O-Z-Z-A-G-E, and it was designed to be 95% more effective than dressage towards training a top performance horse and a super rider. And we're going to show you, because of the gear and our technique, why I can help you and your horse get 95% more. Without saying much more, I'll just start going through some of these things we have hanging up, and this is just kind of a quick thing on most of the things we use. Okay, what we're going to do is show you now the bareback. It's a new design for me. I've been working on it for probably 15 years. The biggest improvement in saddles in probably 200 years. It is a saddle that I teach all the top students, jumping, playing polo. We break horses in it. We do barrel racing. It's called the Boz Balance Ride Bareback Treeless Speed Racer. It's used basically for teaching and training barrel horses, gymkhana horses, and endurance racing. It's also a great saddle to use in the jump world, cross country, or just stadium jumping for training during the week and not using your good saddle until you go to show. So this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and put this rope up. I'll just let this hang up over his back so it's out of our way. It's completely inside this pad. You take the pad and your saddle and everything goes inside, it zips up, and it goes on your shoulder. In fact, what would happen is that, Annie, why don't you stop and I'll put it in. Okay, the next saddle I'm going to show you is a design that I've been working on for about 15 years. It's called the Boz Balance Ride Bareback Treeless Speed Racer. And we've designed it for barrel racing, gymkhana racing, endurance racing, breaking horses, jumping horses, polo. We use it cutting, we use it training reining. It's the biggest improvement in saddles in 200 years, like I said. And what's unique about it is that the pad and saddle is all one unit. It's inside. This is the pad. It goes on your shoulder, your bridle and everything's in here. And how it works, let me go ahead and move this horse over here and get so you can see a side view. I'm going to throw this rope up on him here. Get that out of the way. If I unzip this, inside is our saddle. And these are working saddles, folks. This is not a brand new one. This is something that I've probably broke, I don't know how many horses in it. It unzips. I reach in, I grab my saddle. I take the pad now and throw it up on the horse. It has a built-in zipper. It has a cantle bag that attaches, tie strings, shoulder strap. And then our saddle itself is a bareback rigging saddle. The cinch is up on top. This saddle is completely treeless, that it will fit any horse because of the heavy leather, the big D's, the stirrups break away, has a handle, and the bucking rolls. It doesn't weigh very much at all, but it is the greatest saddle ever made. You take this and you throw it up on top of your pad. Once you do, there's a red snap on top with the cinch. You unsnap it, let your cinch fall down. You take this red, I pull it so that you can see it here. you take this red snap and this little D-ring up here, you go underneath this shoulder strap with the red. Can you see that with the film? You're going to go underneath it, come back up and snap it. You're trying to attach this shoulder strap, center strap, to this D of the handle. You also can take this leather scissor here. This is used for two things. You can fold these saddles in half and use this scissor to lock these together, the big D's on the bottom, to keep it in a bowed shape so that you're training the saddle when they come new. You can use the leather piece after that to hold a sponge or something. But I also use it, not only that red one, I'll turn it sideways here, but I take this snap and go through the D and around that back black strap. So I've double locked it. I've double locked this little D to the handle to that strap. Set it up here square, the pad, slide it forward until it bottoms out right against where we sewed. It's going to stop. That kind of locks this little saddle to the pad. Now, to let you know where this saddle should sit on his back, if you lift this up and find the fold, this bottom piece here where your crotch would go would come right at the bottom of the withers, where the withers join the back. You can lift this up and you'll find the fold of your pad is right at that mark. Right in here where the withers bottoms out and molds to the back, that's where you want the bottom edge of this. It's going to make the front higher than the back. That's the way we ride it when we ride rodeo. This was a rodeo saddle that I made into the bareback treeless, speed racer. Once you have that, you're going to go ahead and take the latigo loose, and it's sitting there. I'm going to throw this stirrup up out of the way. I make sure my cinch is correct over here before I pull it around. I bring the cinch up. Again, my latigo is designed that once I feed it through and pull, it unwinds. I want my stirrup leather back. This little brass ring is a training ring that I use on driving. You only come up one time through the main rig, back down to your cinch, and then what you do, you make sure you get a hand's width between the front of the cinch and his elbow, and you can slightly take the slack out a little bit. Don't pull it too tight at first. Put it in a pin it, take this last wrap, pull out, and that pin will start to lock. Right there, it locks across. Now, with the remainder, you come up on top once, you fold it in half once, come up 2/3, and then you can stuff it inside your cinch and get it out of the way. But we're going to cinch it up again when we get ready to ride. Okay, so that's that. We take the breast collar, which I feed through the handle to hold it in place. Come around the front. They're all numbered. In this case, he's number 10. I make sure that that breast collar meets that center junction where that thumb and index finger melt right here. As you come down this jugular vein, this side, with your thumb and index finger, right there, they're going to touch. And when they touch, that's where the center of your breast collar is a stop. If you kept pulling it and the center of your breast collar came over here, folks, it's too long. And also, so he's number 10. So on this side, he's number 10. We got heavy duty breast collar attachments. Ten and 10. Instead of feeding that buckle, I just go through that ring. And then the bottom is going to come down through the center, lock, and I want about 2 fingers between the two of them. When I stand in front, there's not much but 2 fingers here. I don't want to pull a breast collar and come out 5 inches and say, well, I don't want it to pull against the shoulder. Well, if it's out here 5 inches, folks, your saddle is going to go all the way back to his butt. So you're riding like a water buffalo jockey. And that's not where you're going to get much done unless you just ride with your own personal friends and you're all doing the same thing. But if you start riding with good horsemen, you can't afford to let him have this forward position and you sitting that far back. Now again, the stirrups are adjusted just like an English stirrup. Can you see it from there? so that they pull down. They have a buckle. There's a bar underneath here, and they break loose. If you pull these stirrup leathers, boom, they'll completely come off for security. You will not get drug in the saddle. And again, to adjust them, and then you come up and lock that pin, and then the remaining part, this, I like to feed it behind and lay it flat. Same thing goes here. You put your fingers here, you come up, and you go to the torso is the start, and then I like about 2 inches shorter. That gives you a general start, and then from there, it depends on the barrel of the horse. If he's wide barrel, you're gonna have to have probably longer stirrups because they'll shorten you up. And if he's skinny slabbed, you're gonna have to have shorter stirrups because there is nothing to bend you out. So it depends on horses that we ride. This saddle is designed with a heavy duty handle to hang on, buck and rolls to lock you in, stronger than any English saddle ever did, breakaway stirrups, and you can ride this thing like you can't believe. And this is the stirrup, the other stirrup that we talk about performance. These are the 1.5 inches. And we also put a bar across them. We don't squeeze and neck these down. Now we can put on those little sheepskin covers here. We put covers that come with the saddle. Somebody wants to ride with them so they don't get pinched, whatever. We use boots so we don't have the problem if they want to ride in shorts. And the other thing you can do with this saddle, if you add 4 things to it, there's a little crupper strap ring down the middle, if I can turn him a little bit. Right down the center of the saddle is a crupper ring. And if that ring lays down flat, we can take a crupper and go back and put a crupper on. And then after we do that, we either can use these hangers here. We have a special attachment for a shaft that comes to and attaches a shaft for a cart. We put a little floating cinch that comes in here that pulls so that that shaft doesn't go up and down. And we take the traces that pull the cart and we lock them on to these D's. And you can train the horse to pull a cart and carriage with the same saddle, and we use it to ride and drive the same saddle, and I show that in a tape how to train your horse to do that. So you can add 4 things and make it a riding saddle, or you can make it your saddle, your little gag saddle to train a horse to drive if you want to drive that day. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this out in the arena and show you how I mount it and how we use it and ride it, and so hope that you enjoy watching what this little saddle will do.